I often get in these situations where I only have about half an hour to record, and then for some reason I still go on for 2 hours, and then it messes with my ability to sleep. Anyway, hopefully that won't happen this time. Hopefully this recording will be short, but I don't know what the progress bar looks like, only you do. So, last time I hit some sort of ending, right? So, at some point, let me get out the notes. The cheat thing that's integrated into the Eternal Edition, also known as a Love 2D port, changed the route label from common route to Yuka route. And then I ended up funneled basically into this route that gave me no way of escaping. Like, it was a complete funnel. After I made a choice, according to my choice notes, that's persuade the girl. When we were talking to the girl who found the bell and tied it to the railing at the park, we basically had... I didn't write down any more choices. There might have one that I, for some reason, didn't write down. But we seemed to have no choice and be funneled right into whatever conclusion we're going to get into. And that conclusion was, we were wrapped back around to the start, but unlike the beginning of the game, now we have full and detailed memories of everything happening during those 6 days. So, let me try to get into the details here of this. I would presume... So, Yuka made the following comment during this, funneled ending. And that was that there was a trigger for this. And I presume that was when you followed Yuka into the shrine to go try to find Karumi. And that's part of the choices I inconveniently lost in my notes because they didn't save my text file. Anyway, if the game gave us this prompt, should I run in after Yuka or not? And Yuka said not to, because Yuka said she had a very bad feeling about what would happen in the shrine. And I made the choice to run in, and I made this kind of offhand comment. I said, well, we need to advance the plot, right? And what it meant was we need to go into the shrine and see what's in it, to see the clues that help us progress inside the shrine. I didn't know that, making this decision would be a trigger for getting an ending, which would cause us to remember everything when we went back in time, and that would advance the plot. I didn't know any of that stuff, obviously. Or maybe not obviously, you gotta trust me, I didn't know any of that. It was my first time seeing any of this, or reading it. But anyway, Yuka said that was a trigger for that ending to happen. Or if you can call it an ending, I don't know, the game hasn't really ended yet, wrapped back around, it seems to be continuing, get to that later. Another couple things to notice, though, is Yuka, in that funneled ending, makes mention to a promise we made to her that we would do anything she wanted us to do. Like one thing, you just ask us to do it and we'll do it. As a punishment, or maybe a reward to her, a punishment for us for losing in tennis. Which means that in order for that ending to make any sense, you would have had to have chosen to play tennis with Luca. In other words, you couldn't have gone to the beach, you had to have actually stopped and played tennis with Luca. So that would happen. Unless the game has some other way of making that choice happen if you go the other way. Which implies that you have to play Luca in tennis on day one in order for the sequence at the end to happen how it happened, which I presume is what the cheat thing called Yuka route. So that was another necessary step to achieve the Yuka route. And the reason why I chose that was because, remember, I already saw the first day of playthrough somewhere else, and whoever played the first day that I watched decided to play tennis with Luca. And I thought, oh, that's kind of fun, I can do that on my playthrough because I kind of like that scene. Well, and also because if you do choices that are very contradictory to stuff you've already seen, that gives you knowledge of what happens in two different branches. What gives you extra knowledge beyond how much you'd have if you were just playing it, right? So it kind of makes the spoiler situation worse. So, but I essentially made that choice because of some footage I saw earlier. So you could basically say I was spoiled. So on choosing to play tennis with Yuka, I was spoiled. On choosing to follow Yuka into the shrine, I was like, I gotta go into the shrine so I can see what's inside the shrine because there might be plot hints in there, right? I'm not gonna pass that up. So now there might have been more triggers. There might have been more decisions I unknowingly made along the way that made it so that's the ending that would happen. If that's an ending, we haven't got to it really at roll credits yet. But those are the two I can identify so far as I'm trying to kind of induce or also deduce somewhat what the game's structure, what the tree chart structure of it is. So in that ending, we learned that basically they're just going around in an infinite time loop. They get sent back in time at the shrine, but they don't remember why they're sent back in time or what happened. They just get kind of these vague shadow memories. They get some memories. They get some what seems like premonitions or bad feelings about things, but they don't. But Yuka and Makoto don't know very the specific details or everything that you remember as if you had experienced it. Some sort of amnesia happens, and so they end up just inevitably repeating what they did previously. They got them in that situation. They keep going back in time again and again until Makoto reads the talisman in the, is it pronounced Shiki no Mori shrine? And then that apparently, according to Yuka, is a trigger that makes it so then they remember everything when they go back. So I would think that that what I got there is something desirable. It's something you're trying to achieve, right? Because you want to not die. I mean, usually you want the happy ending, right? And in order for you to not die, you have to break the cycle, which means you need to remember what was causing the cycle, since you intentionally can cause a time travel inconsistency, so you can intentionally force a time travel plot hole that facilitates a happy ending. Because oftentimes, in order to make a happy ending in a time travel plot, you have to make a hole. Because you have to make it no longer self-consistent. Right? You have to make something not make sense. Because it's like, imagine you're Okuhiko. What is Okuhiko experiencing? The conversation where Makoto says, no, Yuka, you can't cook breakfast, and asks Yuka what she was going to cook anyway, and sees Yuka in her pajamas? Or is it that Yuka says, I'll make breakfast as toast fine, and she's wearing a pink dress? Which one does he see? I don't know. It's what right? So time travel sucks, but anyway. It is implied that there's other routes, so there might be maybe a Kurumi route, or a Haruka route, or a Izumi route, or a Saki route. If you look at the save menu, if you try to make a save, there'll be like a list of characters you can put on these thumbnails, and they're all girls. Also, I believe there's when you go into the game and you see there's a save menu, that menu, there is a menu in here with like a collage of just the girls in the game. It's implying that there is no Okuhiko route, which makes sense because Okuhiko doesn't have any mysteries surrounding him, and he doesn't have any enigmas. He's just a character that is used to advance the plot in certain situations, but again doesn't have any mysteries. Okay, so describe the routing. Now, there's a bunch of mysteries still left unsolved. One is, what's up with Kurumi? You know, Izumi seemed to imply that she thought Kurumi was a fake or a replacement of the real Kurumi. But we know the Shiki no Mori shrine does time travel. I already described this in a previous episode. So that seems to imply that Kurumi was not kidnapped or replaced, she just jumped forward in time. But then again, the way the shrine works, as demonstrated on Makoto and Yuka, is not exactly like that. it does more like jumping than time travel, really. So that's not really that consistent. But Izumi specifically said she thought Kurumi wasn't really her sister. And then, but Izumi seems interested in Makoto's premonitions and wants to have this talk with him that never actually ends up happening, implying that Kurumi might actually know something about the time travel effect. So we still don't have the anything answered about Kurumi. We don't know why Saki and Yuka and not Yuka, Haruka hate each other so much. Of course, Saki doesn't like Haruka because she's kind of anti-clone, but something must have started sometime in the past that we don't know about. There's some other element to it we don't know about. And I don't know if, now that we've started back around at the beginning, whether this is going to go through just the first day and it's going to be roll credits, and they have to go back and do this again to get those other routes or learn those other things, or whether we're going to actually go through the entire 6 days again. This would be amazing if this is the case. But with Yuka, like, changed now that she knows what's going to happen, it's going to be like these awkward moments where Yuka's like, don't tell him we know that. Throughout the entire thing, are able to learn things we would have been able to know on the first pass again, but somehow incorporating the differences in Yuka, which would be crazy amazing writing. I don't know if they're going to actually go through it with it or not. At the very beginning of the game, I assumed, because there was a death in a Japanese mystery novel, that the death was due to a murder. And I was anticipating solving a whodunit on who kills whoever was killed, which I knew, I pretty much was certain from the beginning was Yuka. But for some reason, as I went through the game and the game distracted me with other mysteries, I essentially forgot about trying to figure out who's the murderer was going to be. Also, the closeness of the cast and how it seemed very hesitant to introduce new characters sort of made me stumped on that. And so I kind of ended up just forgetting about that problem. So in the end, when it turned out to be not a murder at all, just an accident, I was kind of like, oh yeah, okay, I guess yeah. Okay, let's keep playing. Whoops. Load. Somehow, the three of us managed to convince her to give up. So this is a repeating day. Forgot who her is here. Backlog. Yuka. Okay. Oh, here's the backlog shows the collages. So Yuka, Izumi, Haruka, Kurumi, and Saki. Yuka, Saki, no, this is Kurumi. Izumi, Haruka. Is this Saki? Looks like a second Yuka. Yeah, it just shows the woman. Anyway, somehow the three of us managed to convince her to give up. After that, we washed our faces, brushed our teeth, and changed our clothes. Announcement service public. Okuhiku turns on the TV in the corner of the room. The image I'm seeing from the cathode ray tubes is a familiar one. It's the image of a small stream flowing. Were LCDs mainstream in 2000? I believe they were. Anyway, maybe it's just a slightly older TV. You see the rabbit ears antennas. Okuhiko quickly changed the channel. This time an image of a cooking show appears. In the upper right-hand corner of the screen is the title logo, A Healthy Utopia. Okuhiko changes the channel again, but all we see is the river from earlier. It seems like they've got this local... Okay. I couldn't read that for some reason. It seems like all they've got is this local broadcast crap. Okuhiko changes the channel back to A Healthy Utopia. What should we do about food? The cooking on screen only doubles Haruka's hunger. We finally got dressed and everything, so how about going out to eat? Now if we eat now, then we'll just get hungry again too early in the afternoon, right? Huh? I don't think like this guy. If we're going to go out, then wouldn't it be best to wait a little bit? Like, say, another half hour? Of course. I have a plan. It's gonna meet Kurumi. Well, you've got a point. Okuhiko says this. Just eat breakfast. Haruka also gives a nod of agreement. This plan seems to bewilder Yuka and causes her to tilt her head in confusion. I mouth the words, that. However, as it's only one syllable, Yuka doesn't get it. Therefore, I mouth the letters T-H-A-T. But Yuka still doesn't seem to understand what I mean. She probably doesn't remember. That's right, in half an hour, that will arrive. The pizza, right? The doorbell rings. Just on time. The four of us look towards the front door all at once. Oh, I'll get it. I stand straight up and walk to the door. Thank you for your continued patronage. Here's the seafood pizza you ordered. Oh, thank you. Ishihara, when did you order that? Oh, earlier. Wait, he just goes? He just does it himself? This is not how I would do this. At all. Earlier? Oh, so that's why you said it's the best if we waited half an hour. Then you should have just said so from the beginning. Did something happen? No, it's nothing, just talking amongst ourselves. Hold on, Makoto, it's not nothing, is it? Huh? Isn't the pizza a mistake? Don't say that. Huh? A mistake? A disturbed expression clouds her face as she searches through her pockets with her free hand until she pulls out a scrap of paper. But the receipt definitely says you ordered a seafood pizza, didn't you? I'm telling you that's not what I meant. I'm saying we didn't order anything. But she checks the receipt again. This is definitely the right address. Well then, what's the name on the receiver's address? Asakura. It says Asakura here. See, unfortunately, there isn't anyone here named... Wait a minute. Suddenly Haruka cuts in. I'm Asakura. That's a relief. That was a little alarming when you said it was a mistake. Alright, well then. Kurumi takes a thin box out of the silver bag. It'll be 1,200 yen. Haruka takes some money out of her pocket and gives it to Kurumi. Thank you very much. Kurumi gives a deep bow before she energetically runs off. The four of us eat the pizza. Yuka eats the pizza in content, even though she had tried to sabotage my plan to take the pizza and almost screwed everything up. Why didn't you just say this for... He's just gonna like... I don't have anything to say, so just making like nonsense noises. I suddenly wonder how hungry the waiting Saki is right now. I feel kind of guilty. You should be. But I did what I had to do. I convinced myself what I did was a necessary evil. Our stomachs just couldn't fight off the hunger. Or you could say, what you did was necessary to bring Saki to Luna Beach, so that you would change history, because for some reason, even though you already did that, that's bad. Today is Monday, April 1st. This is the afternoon news. We hear a polite voice from an announcer on the TV, which is still on. At the same time, that awful bird chirping noise starts. It's like, somewhere over at Saki's summer house, I set the table with a paper plate. How would I know that it'd be late? Ready for dinner? Now I'm not so sure. I think my soda's room temperature. Anyway. Suddenly I remember where I saw the cherry blossoms. Yuka said that her first love was similar to me. If you want to be free, then you mustn't be afraid. I don't think I could be similar to a guy who'd use a cheap line like that. It feels like something Okuhiko would say rather than me. Well, you were younger then. I think this as I casually look towards Yuka. She looks distracted, as if she's trying to avoid eye contact with someone or something, like you. Hey, shouldn't we go now? As he rises, Okuhiko flicks his long bangs away from his face. Go where? Huh, what are you saying, Yuka-chan? We talked about it last night, right? To play tennis. Tennis. Oh, that. Right, then shall we go play tennis? But Haruka, you don't want to play, do you? The instant I say that, Yuka glares at me. Yes, that's right. Instead of tennis, I went to see the ocean. The ocean, I see the ocean, huh? After thinking for a little while, he suggests this. Then I'll go to the ocean too. We're finally by the ocean, so it's only natural that we ought to see it first. Yeah, I've got it. Yuka slams her fist into her palm. It seems she's got a good idea. Then why don't we split into the ocean team and a tennis team? Haruka and Okuhiko-kun will go to the ocean while Makoto and I play tennis. How's that? I see that means we'll be all alone and have enough time for a long discussion. Yeah, I don't mind at all. Haruka says nothing. I also say nothing. Alright then, shall we get going? We leave the lodge. Well then, how now we can talk all we want, right? Yuka and I are sitting down at the bench at the tennis court. Is it alright if I ask you something? Why can't we tell the others? You must have some sort of reason that means we need to keep it a secret. Yes, but before that, I think it'd be best if we first straighten several things out. I have a feeling that there are lots and lots of things that we still misunderstand or don't comprehend at all, like, just what did we experience and what are we thinking? If we don't reach a mutual understanding first, our conversations will clash and then we'll have no idea what the other's saying, right? Well, she might be right. I give Yuka a deep nod and wait for her to start off. Alright then, first off, let's confirm what we know, okay? Yeah? I think there's 3 things that we can definitely say for sure. Number 1, you and I share the same memories from April 1st to the 6th. Okay. Today's date is definitely Monday, April 1st. Okay. Nothing weird yet. On the last April 1st, we had the same dream. Hey Yuka, don't make this more complicated than it actually is. In short, this is what you want to say, right? On Saturday, April 6th, we time traveled at that shrine to Monday, April 1st. In other words, to today. Time travel, huh? It's not exactly the conventional storytelling time travel. They didn't make a copy of themselves. They replaced the consciousness that was already in there. They replaced the consciousness in the bodies that were already there. But they would have done so incompletely. They would have only had kinda sorta memories. They would make them seem like a dream. And somehow they've changed that. Just replaced. You don't think it's something else, do you? You don't think it's the morphogenetic field, do you? No, there's no way that it's something else. It's just, do you really think that this is a simple problem that can be explained by those 2 words? The 3 facts we know right now, if all we knew were 1 and 2, then it's probably be alright just to say that it was time travel, but the most important one is number 3. That we had the same dream on the last April 1st? Yes, and if I had to say my thoughts on why, then my answer would be, to us, this wasn't the first time we've experienced time travel. That's the truth of the matter, right? Yeah? In other words, we've time traveled before, haven't we? Yeah? Which means that this should be the 3rd time we've experienced today, the day known as Monday, April 1st, correct? Well, it's the infinity plus 1th day, is what you would call it. It's a loop break day. The last April 1st and today, and the forgotten April 1st that happened before our dream. Yeah, that's what I thought. But we're only playing the game twice. We're not the 3rd time playing the game, so from the meta perspective, it's not 3 times. Makoto, what day do you think it was before that forgotten April 1st? May 31st? It's March, right? I think, is there 31 days in March? Whatever. It's funny, it's April Fool's Day. March 31st. That'd be March. Oh, yeah, he says it. Wow. You think so? No, it would infinitely. It would have been April 6th, right? You really think so? What do you want to say? I think the day before the forgotten April 1st was actually the 6th. Huh? Truthfully, we have no clue how many times we've been through today, April 1st. Exactly. For some reason, I couldn't remember the order of the months. Anyway, even though this is at least the third time, this might actually be the 300th time, or the 300 millionth time. So trying to count the number of times itself might be pointless. This is how many times you attempted to get this ending and failed. Perhaps we've been repeating the days from April 1st through the 6th countless times for all eternity. If there's no beginning, then there's no end. This is definitely a part of an infinite loop. An infinite loop. I'm having a hard time taking it in. Immortality. But in the worst kind. The word repeats itself in my head. If that's the case, then does that mean we're doomed to repeat the last 6 days for all eternity? We'll continue living in this world for our whole lives. Now that's not an accurate way of putting it. It's not like our physical bodies traveled through time with us. Only our consciousnesses have returned to the morning of the first, which means that it's completely impossible for our bodies to age. If we can't age, then our bodies will never rot away. In other words, we won't die? That's wrong! We can't die! Suddenly I'm hit with a sense of intense despair. It's a dark world without even a single ray of light. Time will continue to repeat itself. Are you saying that I have to continue living on endlessly for all eternity in this world, in this time? Something like that is nothing short of despair. What will happen to my future, my prospects, my dreams, my hopes? It's like I'm stuck in a prison. I'm chained down in this small cell where everything repeats without change. Where everything repeats without change. Where everything repeats without change. Implication is, but I can change it, right? Where everything repeats without change. Where day after day continues monotonously. And then I feel pain that could gouge out my heart. I can't escape from this pain. I failed to save her thousands, if not tens of thousands of times. I broke my promise, all because I hesitated for that one moment. That's right, at that time it happened because I thought of that. I thought of myself first. It's because I held my own life dear. So the one who killed Yuka was me. This is like a trope, but it's obviously never true. She would have died anyway. I've killed her thousands, if not tens of thousands of times. And from this point onwards, I'll continue to kill her countless times for all eternity. I will continue to shed blood. That's simply... I gnash my teeth with a grinding noise. The pain in my chest seems to burst open. Everything, all of these memories, I want to erase them and be rid of them. All of them! Isn't that just escaping? Am I really planning to run away like that? I'm such a coward. If you want to be free, then you mustn't be afraid. I'll fight. Even if it's a predetermined fate. I'll just shatter it into pieces. I'll destroy such a ridiculous fate. I'll break out. Not gonna start singing that. I'll break out from this hellish cell. Brings me new meaning to that song, though. From within the darkness of this infinite loop. I'll tear off these chains. I'll never repeat this again. I'll definitely protect Yuka. No, it's not how you do it, okay? You just don't... I can't break that oath ever again. I firmly grab Yuka's arm, and like that I keep pulling her arm as I begin to walk. Hold on, where are we going? We're running away. Running away, where to? That's obvious, isn't it? To the free world. The harbor? Wait, do you mean? That's right, we're going home. How? We'll take the ferry, isn't that obvious? Well, Makoto! I'll buy his tickets, so wait here for a bit. I leave Yuka and run towards the ferry boarding area. I go to the ticket booth window. I notice set up against it quickly catches my eye. Today ferry services is suspended due to bad weather. Bad weather, but it's so nice right now. What's going on? I peek into the office next to the window. No one's inside. I click my tongue and run over to a nearby dock fishing boat. There is a lone fisherman on the boat's deck, performing maintenance. I call out in an eager voice. Excuse me, please let me borrow that boat. Where are you? What are you saying? No, I want to go out on the fishing boat just once. What? You going fishing? No, that's not it. I want to return to the mainland. Oh, you got some business you got to do on the mainland, huh? Oh, something like that. That's why. That's too bad, huh? Long story short, there's gonna be some bad weather rolling in. Bad weather, even though it's so clear? Right, a bad trope's coming in from the ocean, you see. Trope? I mean a tropical cyclone. After all, this is the season for one of those. A bad trope too, probably. What's it called? El Nino? Right, it's because of El Neo. Okay, El Nino. Oh, that's right. The Arrow Nino, right? It's El Nino. You're number 9. Well, whatever the name is, it doesn't really matter. Anyway, it's because of that we're getting bad weather from the ocean. But, that face, you don't believe what I said, do you? It's not that I don't believe you, it's just what? If it's just a little bit of bad weather, then it doesn't seem like it's impossible to go. The fisherman shouts in an absurdly loud voice. Don't underestimate the ocean. You know nothing about the ocean, so don't get so conceited. Well, then tomorrow comes, y'all can see for yourself. Tomorrow. Right, tomorrow you can see that there'll be some huge waves coming. Tomorrow, April 2nd. That was the day Saki was swallowed by that large wave. This fisherman is right. Come on, you're getting in the way of my work. If you got no business with me, then scram. The fisherman seems to have been angered by my thoughtless words. It feels like I should apologize to him. Sorry. You gave the fisherman a deep bow and turn away. No good, huh? I hang my head down in misery. I saw what happened. Even though I tried to tell you to stop. You knew? Izumi-san said it before, didn't she? Because a storm's coming from the sea, the fishing boats can't go out. Because the migration velocity of the tropical cyclone is slow. It'll be like this for about a week. She also said something like that. Makoto? When she calls out to me, I lift my face. Don't get so down. Earlier I said that this might be an infinite loop, didn't I? One that would repeat countless times for all eternity? But you know what? I think that it's probably that we took the exact same actions last time and the time before that. In other words, the same events always played themselves out. Why did things happen that way, Makoto? Do you know why? Because you didn't remember from the previous time. I shake my head. Because our memories were vague. At times, just before something happened, we would experience a premonition, but in the end, they were useless. But this time is different. We have reliable memories this time, right? If that's the case, then even if we can't run away from this island, changing history will be easy. Are you for real? Of course. Actually, this morning you subtly changed history, didn't you? Subtly. For example, because I didn't cook, you were still hungry. Because you were hungry, you planned on stealing the pizza. Then Okihiko-kun's actions changed, and finally it was Haruka who lied about her name, who lied that her name was Asakura. Makoto, do you know what the butterfly effect is? Yeah, I do, because I know what, what's that game? Yes. Until Dawn. I watched too much MatPat, therefore I know what the butterfly effect is. Actually, I've read the short story too in elementary school that name comes from. Don't remember who wrote it. But yeah, someone goes back in time to go hunt a dinosaur and accidentally steps on a butterfly and kills it. And when it comes forward in time, the results of a political, like the results of an election were switched. Anyway. It's the question of, does the flap of a butterfly's wings in Brazil set off a tornado in Texas, right? In short, it means a tiny little microscopic change could affect even an enormous phenomenon. It's kinda like the Japanese expression, when the wind blows, the barrel maker's profit, isn't it? This is a very old story. Once, when the wind blew, dust flew up into people's eyes, increasing the number of blind people. Those blind people tried to make a living as shamisen players, and as a result, the demand for cat skin, necessarily to make more shamisens, increased. Shamisens? With less cats, the number of rats increased, and then they chewed on barrels, requiring more to be made. So in the end, the barrel makers profited. Yes, that's exactly it. It's not like history is immune to the accumulation of small microscopic events, right? So even if we just increase the number of small trifling changes, it should be possible for reality to make a 180. I see. So just keep messing everything up. History will definitely change. No, we will change history. This is our last chance. Huh? If by any chance the same events occur on this April 6th, they might never be able to get another chance to break out of this loop again. Isn't that right? When we wake up the next morning of the 1st, there's no guarantee that we'll have our memories, right? Yeah, that certainly might happen. We'll change history, of course, I agree with you there. But either way, if we act selfishly, then it'll all go to nothing, understand? Yeah. Even though we can repeat things, this is our last chance. So don't pull a stunt like you did last time. Swear it right here, right now. No matter what happens, never go near that shrine again. Got it. I swear it. We're going near that shrine again. We're definitely going to that shrine again. Promise this must definitely be kept. That's what you wrote in your letter. Don't forget this vow, okay? Yuka gives me a serious stare and nods. And then she opens her tightly shut mouth. Let's see it together. See the sunrise on April 7th together. And mutters this. But I can't wipe that last smudge of uneasiness from me. Last time Yuka also said don't come back here, the shrine again. In spite of that, Yuka went there. Yesterday, no, on the morning of the April 6th, on the top of that cliff, Yuka said this. I wanted to go back to the past no matter what. I wanted to go back to the past. Why? And she knows she'll miss her chance because an earthquake is gonna come. It's gonna knock that shrine down. The waves breaking onto the pier are still calm right now. Yuka and I are sitting on the staircase right above it. Yuka's hair sways in the gentle breeze as she sits next to me. I make up my mind to decide to ask the question that's been eating away at me. Say, Yuka, there's something I want you to tell me. What? Yuka, you said this behind the shrine, right? I want to go back to the past no matter what. Would you tell me the reason why you wanted to return to the past? Hey, you're still planning on keeping it a secret this late in the game? It's not like that. And why? I understand, I'll tell you. But before that... Yuka, you've been saying but before that way too many times. You're always trying to postpone questions. Earlier at the tennis court, I asked you, why can't you tell the others the truth? You still haven't answered that one. That's your fault, Makoto. You interrupted the conversation and suddenly brought us here. The reason we can't tell the others the truth is simple. It's dangerous. Dangerous? Think about it carefully, will you? How are we going to expect them to believe us about this strange reality if we tell them? To win their trust, we'd have to tell them everything, wouldn't we? Wouldn't you say? Yeah, that's true. Anything and everything. The time, the place, the circumstances, we have to tell them all of that, wouldn't we? Yeah, I get that much. Then let me ask you this. If you were in the other's position, what would you do? What would you do if someone told you strange stories about time travel and infinite loops? Well, I probably wouldn't believe it at first. Right, you'd think they were crazy. But as the story continues, you're presented with all sorts of proof. For example, let's say I made a prediction about something in the future, something that everyone else would definitely not know about, and it came true. If that happens, you'd have to believe me, right? I wonder about that. Well, it would be alright even if you didn't. Anyway, for now, let's try assuming that you do believe me. There's no room for doubt in her story. You'd think something along those lines. So then what would you think next? Shouldn't I go to confirm whether or not that story's true? See, that's what I thought. No matter how much we insisted, it's likely that the others wouldn't believe us. Even if they did believe us, wouldn't that just put them into danger? People's curiosity is something a lot stronger than what most think. Even if they knew it were dangerous, the others might go to the shrine at the time specified to confirm its validity. Well, they could just watch from outside the shrine. They would have to go into the space behind the shrine where they'd be guaranteed to die when the earthquake hit. I see, so that's it. Actually, that's just kind of silly plot convenience, lousy explanation, but whatever. I sigh as I mutter this. After all, this is our problem in the first place. I don't want to involve others. A sound argument. I see no room to object. All right. With an enthusiastic shout, I stand up on the pier. Well then, shall we begin? Yuka tilts her head. Let's go, Yuka. I start to walk away, and the question remains unanswered. Geez, you don't walk without saying it. Don't walk off without saying anything. Where do you plan to go this time? We'll make it. Make what? That's obvious, isn't it? Huh? A free world. That again? Although she says this, Yuka smiles and rushes over to me. Seeing Yuka smile after a long time makes my heart feel like it's bouncing. So what's the plan? Yuka asked us while walking. Plan? Your plan to make a free world? Yeah, first I think I'll try doing whatever I can. Do you have any specific ideas? I'm going to destroy the bells. I firmly declare this. Hold on! Are you serious about that? Isn't that obvious? If those bells weren't there, none of this would have happened. It's already been proven, hasn't it? The echoing bell will free you from time. It was written on that talisman. See, we're clashing. Huh? Our thoughts are differing. Even though I said at the beginning that we should try straightening things out. Then you're against destroying the bells? Yeah. Why? If you didn't have those bells, that's right, there's something I still haven't asked you yet. The reason I didn't throw away the bell? Yeah, that's because... Just then Yuka's expression clouds over. It's like a rain cloud covering the sun or a solar eclipse. That very sudden change makes me feel uneasy. Because I remembered. Huh? The poem from my dream. I remembered that it was yours. That's why in the morning of the last first, I headed straight for your room. A dream where someone died. So in other words, that someone was me. When I saw that you knew nothing, Makoto, I felt relieved, and for a little while after that, I thought that it's just a dream. But the second time I saw that bell, that the girl had in the Viewpoint Park, I couldn't help but grow uneasy. What if you got the bell and something bad happened? I was worried. So I found that girl and traded the bell for my keychain. At first I thought I'd try throwing it into the ocean. So I went to the tip of Viewpoint Park to throw it. But I reconsidered it. After all, perhaps the waves might have carried it away and caused it to wash up on some beach. And obviously I couldn't check to see if it really sunk to the bottom of the ocean or not. I would just feel scared the whole time with no way to get rid of that fear. So I thought that if I always carried it, it would be alright. Anyway, now it's your turn. Huh? Tell me why you had that bell. Oh, that. It was a present from Kurumi. This is something Kurumi found on Moon Beach this morning. It's very pretty, so she'll give it to you. I tell Yuka the contents of the letter. Well, isn't it short? It seems there were two bells from the beginning. Well, in short, it seems like there were two bells from the beginning. The bell I found on the first and the bell you found on the third were different bells. I threw my bell away on the first, which washed up 2 days later, and that girl picked it up on the evening of the third on Moon Beach. You threw away your bell on the third, which washed up 2 days later, and on the afternoon of the fifth, Kurumi picked it up. So in the end, the bell I had was the one you threw away, and the bell you had was the one I threw away. That's what happened. I see. So probably didn't have any ill will in giving it to me, but thanks to that, things turned out this way. Then you're not going to thank her? Huh? Why would I thank? You really don't get it. If Kurumi-chan hadn't given you that bell, you'd be dead. The word dead pierces my chest, because you would have died and not traveled back in time. The echoing bell will free you from time. So if you didn't have that bell, I couldn't have time traveled. Yes. We were able to be saved because our consciousness were flung to this time. Well, saved might not be the best way to put it, but anyway, if our consciousnesses had stayed at the shrine on the 6th, then all that would have remained of our existence would be our dead physical bodies. In other words, in this flow of time, we're actually still alive, but in the flow of time connected to April 6th, we're dead. That's how it is. It's a bit hard to grasp, but I take it you're confused. Then try thinking about it like this. Let's say there's this long, wide road that's a straight line. On that road, there's 7 cars moving. They're neatly lined up side by side. Each car has one driver. Haruka, Saki, Kurumi-chan, Izumi-san, Okuhiko-kun, me, and you are the drivers. Far behind those 7 cars are another group of 7 cars all lined up side by side. Driving those cars are a different Haruka, a different Saki, a different Kurumi-chan, a different version of everyone are driving the cars ahead. You get me so far? Yeah. Well then, at a certain time, suddenly you and I have a heart attack or something and die. Our bodies die, but our consciousnesses don't. Instead, they slip into the bodies of an alternate selves driving the cars behind the first group. We just continue to travel down the same road we were driving up until now. So what about the cars traveling in front? Our corpses are still inside, continue to travel down forever. And that's how it is, do you get it? Well, more or less. Except there's a place where there's like two of you at the same time. Because on April 1st, you've experienced April 1st several times. The car is at April 1st has several... Like, you know what I'm trying to say? If you jump back to April 1st, what happens to the person that was there on April 1st? They don't die until April 6th. There's this overlap. That's what makes our analogy not make sense. In short, if I didn't get that bell from Kurumi, I would have been squashed under that collapsed shrine and my consciousness would have completely come to a stop. It wouldn't be able to slip out of that car and my consciousness would have died within my body, isn't that right? Yuka slowly nods. And that's how it's connected to our earlier conversation. That's why it's best not to destroy the bells. Huh? You don't get it. To us, those bells are our last fortress. They're literally our lifelines. If by any chance the same events occur on this April 6th, you said that at the harbor, if we don't have that bell at that, by any chance time, we won't just lose our free world. We'll lose the world itself. It'll mean the complete annihilation of our consciousnesses. Well, that's atheist. By changing history from now on, I think it'll get difficult to predict what will happen on that day. So basically, their insurance? It's best to have a lifeline to hold on just to be safe? Yeah. Wouldn't it be better if our first priority were finding the bells instead of destroying them? That's what I think. Yuka and I arrive at Moon Beach and immediately begin searching for the bell. Hey, are you sure that it's around here? I'm sure, I definitely picked it up around here. But that's not very reliable. It's been almost 6 days since you found it after all. Scattered on the beach with us is seaweed, fragments of seashells, and scraps of driftwood. If the waves were breaking onto shore a little bit further, they'd be soaking my ankles. In these circumstances, finding such a small bell might be next to impossible. Besides, didn't you find it at night? If that's the case, that means the scenery is very different then. Yuka stops in mid-sentence and eats the rest of her words. Her eyes narrow as she glares at the wet sand. As if she's been lured in by something, Yuka walks over to the point she's staring at. She slowly leans over and picks up something. Found it, huh? Found it, I found it, look. Yuka pinches something in her fingers and shows it to me. It's metal surface that emits a cold light with a light crimson string. It is definitely that bell. The bell sways in the wind and rings out once. See? Yuka places the bell in my palm as she smiles like there's no tomorrow. That's right. This is it, this is it, this is it, this is it. Alright, one lifeline down. My heart is so filled with joy that I just want to shout it all out. Even though you want to destroy the bells, I hold the damp bell up towards the sky. Sparkling rays of the afternoon sun pierce my eyes, forcing me to squint. I don't mind that you're happy and all, but aren't you going to give me a thank you or something? Yeah, you're great, Yuka. You're awesome. Fantastic. I say that as I muss Yuka's hair, messing it up. Geez, what are you doing? In an attempt to get away from my hand, Yuka bends over while desperately trying to fix her hair. We're silent for a short time. I reach out to muss Yuka's hair again. Geez, stop it. While holding down her hair with one hand, she uses the other to launch a counterattack. I instantly intercepted, blocking her. I grasp Yuka's wrist and open up her palm. Well, it didn't take the bell. As I say this, I place the bell in Yuka's palm. Yuka grasps the bell while wrapped up in confusion. Huh? You found the spell, so this is yours. But, didn't I say it before? May not to protect women, that's how it's been for ages. Yuka purses her lips, her eyes swaying. I see her cheeks turn a faint red color. Alright, let's find the second one. I say as cheerfully as I mess up Yuka's hair again. Yuka takes a moment to fix it. For now, we've been able to find the first lifeline. I realize that I now no longer feel fear towards the bell, rather I feel relieved. When I think about it, it's not like that bell was the direct cause of that tragedy. Rather, as Yuka said, it's because we had them that our lives were saved. By having the bell, there's no need to to get extremely scared or pessimistic. In other words, even with that bell, we can change history. That's the only thing I can declare with confidence. And so, we're looking for the second lifeline. It's been a long while since we found the first bell. I guess it's still in the ocean. It probably won't wash up until the third. I turn around to find Yuka out of earshot, searching for the bell on the tip of the beach. Huh. He allows her to sit down on the banks of the beach with a thump. While she's searching, I notice Luna Beach in the corner of my vision and can't help thinking about it. Zumi-san, I wonder what she's doing. We don't have a reason to avoid going to Luna Beach, but on the other hand, we don't have a reason to show ourselves to her and Kurumi right now either. We're wondering if it might be alright if we change history by never meeting Izumi and Kurumi. But because of the incident this morning, they at least know we're at the lodge already. Yuka and I agreed that we should focus on searching for the bell, so we're trying our best not to approach Luna Beach. If we don't find it here, the only place left to search is around Luna Beach. Should I try going? If I go, even if I meet the sisters, it's not like I can't just make up a lie or two. With that thought in mind, I place one hand on the ground and quickly stand up. Just then, what are you doing here? I see Okuhiko standing on top of the banks. He then jumps down onto the sand. Weren't you playing tennis? We finished a while ago. Oh, Yuka-chan's here too. Hey, Yuka-chan! Okuhiko runs over toward her. And at that time, I hear a loud thud from behind me, causing me to turn around. On the sandy beach is Haruka, who has hit the ground. A cloud of dust suddenly stirs up into the empty sky. Huh? I sigh and laugh at the same time. This is nothing to be surprised about anymore. Of course, this would happen. I walk over to the confused Haruka's side, take her hand and help her up. Are you alright? I say this on purpose. I guess when I wasn't paying attention, I subconsciously decided I might be able to let myself enjoy this reality. In response to my question, Haruka gives me a short nod. The signs of her trying to cover up her embarrassment, the blush on her cheeks, this is kinda nostalgic. As if trying to cover up her trembling, she quickly gets to her feet and moves past me. I suddenly look up at the western skies beautifully dyed in a mad red glow. The sound of the waves breaking on shore sound gentler than a lullaby. After that, Yuka and I join up with Haruka and Okuhiko and proceed to Luna Beach. As I mentioned earlier, we don't have a reason to avoid the place. Besides, it'd feel kinda lonely. If we don't go to Luna Beach right now, we might not be able to meet Saki again for the rest of eternity. If we don't go to Luna Beach in these next 6 days, Izumi-san will continue to go on with her life, not knowing who we are. Kurumi's the same. She'll probably soon completely forget the faces of people she only met once. That's just sad. In the last 6 days, we did a lot of fun things. I don't want to lose all of that. Saki caused a lot of problems for us, but on the other hand, if we can resolve her problems, the next 6 days should be able to go by peacefully. I've got to think about everything positively. That's how I feel. I want to turn back time. That's another pop song. Even though they know that's impossible, everyone wished for that once or twice in their life. It's actually not I want to turn back time, it's if I could turn back time, but close enough. And now it's happening in reality. Only Yuka and I can redo the things we regretted in those 6 days. If I think that way, then setting aside the infinite loop, I feel I don't have to keep thinking of the time travel as a bad thing. On the contrary, I can use the current circumstances in a positive way. I'll only change the bad events into good ones. It'll be a piece of cake. Even the flap of one's butterfly's wings can cause a tornado. I'm not scared. Everything will surely go well. I'm finally beginning to think that way. Yuka and I will see the sunrise of April 7th together. It seems I'm looking forward to that day. We go to Luna Beach and introduce ourselves as if we're meeting them for the first time. Saki arrives and busts Haruka by revealing her lie, the lie that her name was Asakura. I don't want to make the conversation complicated, so I decide not to tell them that they're short on rice. Well, I wanted to say it, but then Yuka gave me a sharp glare the moment I tried to, so I gave up. Either way, it doesn't change the fact that I have to go shopping again. Just like last time I go shopping with Yuka. We have paella, pumpkin soup, and Italian salad. I'll never get tired of that taste no matter how many times I eat it. Let's go to the heated pool at Tsukiya Hotel. I break the ice. I also pretend not to know about Izumi-san falling into the pool. I'll only change the bad events into good ones. Then what are the good ones? They're events that are to leave alone and not change. I feel bad for Izumi-san, but this is also a precious memory of mine. We return to Luna Beach and promise to go to the pool tomorrow. We separate from Izumi-san and Kurumi there. And then, exhausted from summarizing the entire day, I plop myself down into my bed. As I doze off, something suddenly starts to bug me, pulling at the corners of my mind. What is it? What is it? It's that you still don't know why Yuka just had to go back to the past. Although I'm thinking I'm having trouble defeating this strong drowsiness. As if I had an off switch, I close my eyes and fall asleep almost instantly. Second day already. I arrive at the pool. Okay, so this gives a hint. So I gotta stop recording here. I gotta save on recording. I don't know why people don't. I do. So I don't forget to save. Haruka in this one. Okay, it's done. Yuka the drunk troublemaker. In our previous playthrough, we did go to the pool because Kurumi was feeling sick. And then Haruka walks up behind us and is like, I'm worried about Kurumi. And so we go back to check on Kurumi, and Kurumi said, oh no, I wasn't really sick. Kurumi wasn't really sick. She just wanted to go to the park. We follow her to the park without her knowing we're behind her until she finally turns around at the park. And there's this goofy conversation with Kurumi at the park. Because on the second route through the week, we go to the pool. That means that decision was probably not required to get these Yuka route, to get this return back to April 1st with memories. We could have just gone to the pool and got the same ending. So there I made a step towards a different route that wasn't significant enough to change the ending I was getting. So I'll keep that in mind here. You have to play tennis with Yuka. You gotta follow Yuka up into the shrine, but you don't have to go check on Kurumi. I'm not worried about Kurumi. I already know that she's faking her illness. Oh, okay. Oh! I just got proven wrong instantly. Well, maybe you figure it out both ways. Maybe it cheats on that because you figure it out both ways. The sun's brilliant rays are bathing me in its light. For some reason, my body's itching to dive in. I said I was going to end, and I didn't end. I immediately dive underwater. I swim from end to end and then do a quick turn without taking a breather. I turn to the starting point again. Fah! And take a deep breath. When I casually look up, I see someone looking down upon me from the high edge of the pool. Here. It's Yuka. She bends over and holds out her right hand. Oh, thank you. I take her hand and step onto the pool side with one foot. I put my weight into that hand and try to climb up when I instead pull on Yuka's arm with all my strength. Yuka falls into the pool at an awkward angle. Gahahahahahaha. I quickly get up on the pool side, look down at Yuka, and laugh loudly. Yuka's face emerges out of the water. Okay. Her voice sounds weird due to the large amount of water in her nose. Geez, what are you doing? Yuka frowns as she climbs out of the pool. Your nose is dripping with snot. Nasty. Yuka clenches her hand into a fist as she trembles. Are you mad at me? I'm not, I'm just really drunk. No matter how you look at it, she's obviously angry. Alright, got it, you can't be helped. So I'll treat you to a drink. Beer? I'm not letting you drink alcohol. Why not? You know why. Boo. Well, we'll go and buy you something appropriate, so wait here. I say that before walking over towards the drink stand. But then I get back. She was already drinking beer. Yuka's sitting on the deck chair, a glass of beer clutched in her hand. Oh, welcome back. Yuka, when did you get that beer? Oh, Okuhiko-kun brought it for me just now. Okuhiko-kun's a really thoughtful guy. Unlike a certain someone else. Then what should I do with this ginger ale that I bought? Oh no, that's a bad memory of mine. Well, you bought ginger ale? Yeah. You're the best, Makoto. This is the best choice possible. Which it's actually beer. I don't get what she's rambling about, but I give her the ginger ale anyway. Just then Yuka takes the half-empty beer glass and pours the ginger ale into it, filling it up. Does that taste good? As I ask, I sit down next to Yuka. Makoto, you don't know what shandygaff is? Huh? Panty rash. It's the name of a cocktail. You know that, don't you? You knew that, didn't you? No. I play dumb. Come on, jeez. We bathed in the warm sun until the afternoon. Before my eyes, I saw kids innocently diving into the pool. Intoxicated by the peaceful atmosphere, I forget something important. Something very important. That's... Shouldn't we be leaving now? As soon as Saki says this, we all simultaneously begin preparing to go back. However, there's still one other person roaming, staggering by the poolside. Said person staggers towards me and comes up to us. Huh? You going back already? Goosh? Then she speaks. Yeah, it's already getting cold, right? Cold? You cold? But I'm not cold at all. Yeah, alcohol makes you feel warmer, but actually brings your body temperature down. So it's dangerous in that way. She's speaking in a comedic drunk tone. Yes, I completely forgot about it. Since I forgot to stop Yuka from drinking after her first cup, she has continued drinking as I remain blissfully unaware. I shudder when I think of the events that will probably follow. In other words, it's like this. The drunk Yuka returns to Luna Beach. She declares that she wants Toro. Everyone goes fishing. Saki is swallowed by the wave. When I realize this is the way back, I try to take Yuka's cup away. I also try to explain to her about the Saki issue. But Yuka won't listen to me. It's fine, it's fine. As long as we don't go fishing, it's fine, isn't it? Can I really trust those words? Happens again. Yuka's laughter makes me feel uneasy. I whisper into Yuka's ear so quietly that only she could hear me. Hey Yuka, you understand, right? Even by mistake, you mustn't say I want to eat Toro. Yeah, I know, I know. Yuka strikes me hard on the shoulder. Ah. I loudly sigh. And then... Morning! Kurumi appears. A thin film of hot milk rises on the surface of the mug in her right hand. Oh, Kurumi-tan, how you feeling? Good, after Kurumi had a nap, she got completely better. Oh, that's good, that's good. Yuka suddenly leans forward and points to the mug in Kurumi's hand. She's not planning to say saying bad again, is she? Yes, she is. I beat her to the punch to obstruct her. Well, that's what I planned, but it doesn't seem like it turned out the way I wanted. Hold on, that's great. Makoto, you're too funny. It seems like completely failed. You just made a portmanteau. Makoto, you're too much. It's clear that those two are completely alienated in their own world. I pick my ears and look at the ceiling, staring at the lamp for no reason. And then, when the long laughter finally ends, Yuka lets out a big sigh and suddenly looks mopey. This is bad. This is really bad. Yuka's definitely going to say it. That's what my intuition is telling me. I've got to turn this conversation in a different direction. Oh, the weather's so good today. Don't you think so too, Izumi-san? Yes, that's right. Conversation's dead. I need another topic. And as I think that... Toot toot. Wow, Saki, your ponytails. Okay. Oh, if you look closely, Haruka's eyes are like a rabbit's. Bounce, bounce. Oh, Kuhiko, are you alright, Ishihara? Let's see. Okay. I want to see the lighthouse tower. And I'll actually save. check and see if it's there, and that's it.